how can you go back to Italy? How can you go back to the place of so much pain after all this time? What made you want to go back there?
You're right. I think it's counterintuitive. We typically try to avoid conflict and to avoid going back to places and encountering people that hurt us. But I think that one thing that really stuck with me throughout this experience was really not understanding why. It's a whole existential crisis to be misunderstood and misrepresented. But a part of my grief was not understanding why this had happened to me and really wanting to understand that. In addition to reconciling with the reality that Italy is not an evil place, and I couldn't imagine that my prosecutor was an evil person.
And Amanda, correct me if I'm wrong, that you also said it was almost like a poison that was inside of you. You needed closure, especially as a mom, right?
Yes. Well, this especially came into focus when I became pregnant with my first daughter, and how I realized that I was harboring inside of me a lot of grief, a lot of pain, and I didn't want to consciously or unconsciously pass that on to my daughter. So I felt a great sense of urgency to confront the past and to confront the pain head on and feel like I had a handle of it, so I wasn't just being dragged along by my very painful past.
And Christopher, there's a moment in the documentary where it's a very private, personal moment between the two of you, and you're expressing your reservations about what may not come for this. Were you worried about Amanda going there and what effect this might have?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there were legitimate worries on many fronts. The most important one being, when we went back to Italy, might they try to charge her with something again? I mean, Amanda's family especially was worried about that, and they were worried that the prosecutor was luring her back in order to imprison her in some way. And we looked at that risk and decided that we were willing to take that, and we didn't think that was what was going to happen.
I have never seen anybody start some sort of friendship, relationship, communication with their former prosecutor. Do you feel in that communication, seeing him for the first time, do you think you got what you were looking for? I mean, where is it at right now, that relationship?
That's a great question, and you're right to point out that it is a very rare thing what happened here. Like, one of the really important things that we showed in Mouth of the Wolf is we interviewed other, lawyers and exonerees about their experience. Have they ever obtained any kind of closure or accountability from the people who harmed them and put them through a wrongful imprisonment scenario? And it is so incredibly rare for any prosecutor or law enforcement person to admit fault, much less enter into a dialogue with somebody that they had harmed. And I mean, I kind of brute forced my way through this in a kind way. I think my approach, which was very non-adversarial with him, opened doors. And so I have to give credit also to my prosecutor that he did not have to, I extended an olive branch, but he did not have to take it. And what resulted was something very unique and extraordinary, but also very deeply human. I feel like I came away with an understanding of him as a human being, as opposed to this nightmarish figure who had such an overwhelming presence and impact in my life.
And he still emails you every day?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, so we are in contact. Yes, he messages me almost every day.
One thing, and I think this is a remarkable journey that you both went on, and is providing a lot of insight into a story that people think they know but don't really know. I'll tell you one thing I didn't know, is that you had this friendship with a prison chaplain. I had no idea about this. Can you tell us a little bit more about this and how this chaplain helped in your journey and helped you through all this whole ordeal?
Yeah, I'm so glad you're asking about Don Saulo, because he really is a very special person and is the reason why this was even possible. He was my support system when I was in prison. He was my best friend. He talked me through everything, both emotional and philosophical dilemmas that I was facing. And so he was a great source of comfort to me. He's also an incredibly compassionate person who has a great amount of integrity. He can confront people and be kind to people who have made grave mistakes in their life. lives. That's his whole career. That's his whole life dedicated to that kind of service. And so he showed me how I can hold somebody to account and be kind to them at the same time. He really represented that ability to me. And he also happened to have a very deep relationship with Giuliano Mignini, my prosecutor. Giuliano had grown up at going to the parish where my, Don Salo had been a priest. And so they had a long, lifelong relationship with each other. And him being the one who helped mediate our conversation, supported us, made us both feel safe in that, in that situation that was going to inevitably have a lot of conflict embedded in it, was super crucial.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.